Blessings, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Dane, host of RMG. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. And welcome to yet another episode celebrating the 50th anniversary of Rush. And today's topic of interest is rating the entire Rush discography. When I first started this channel, one of my first videos was ranking the entire discography. But in this one, I will be rating each album. And in addition to rating all the studio albums from the band, I will also rate the most well-known and well-beloved live albums. There are 4 or 5 or 6 of those. But before we get into that, let me talk about my rating system. I won't go into super detail. I already have a video about that, but I have to do that a little bit to give you an idea where I'm coming from with respect to how these are rated. Okay, so starting at the bottom, 0 is atrocious. There's nothing of value here. Your CD might as well be served as a coaster, or your vinyl record or my vinyl record, I should say, not yours, as a square frisbee. All right, next is extremely poor. This could be rated as a 1, 2, or 3, depending on certain variables, which I won't go into. But just as a quick example, what makes a extremely poor 3 different from extremely poor 1? Well, maybe you have one good song that is a masterpiece, that kind of thing. Next is approaching extremely poor. I assign that a 4. Next is just poor. That's a 5. Next is mediocre, which is 6. It's average. It's fair. It's listenable, but it's ordinary, okay, maybe even meh, that kind of thing. Next is good, which is a 7. Overall, a likable and pleasant, enjoyable listen, something you listen to fairly often. Next is very good. That's an 8. It's memorable. It's valuable. It's strong. It's a work that you go to quite or very often. Next is great. I assign this a 9. It's riveting, it's captivating, it's prominent, it's high quality. Next is approaching masterpiece. I assign that a 9.5. 10 is a masterpiece. It's a legacy or landmark release for the artist or band's own discography and genre. It's inspiring, it's higher quality. Finally, number 11 is legendary or iconic status. It's exceptional, it's rare, it's exceeding highest quality. It's superior, it's outstanding, it's beyond the artist's or band's own discography and genre. It's super inspiring. So let's get started with the debut from Rush, 1974. Okay. Yes, it's a cliche, but I love Finding My Way. I love In the Mood. I love Working Man, and I love What You're Doing. Those are either very good or higher. I like Need Some Love. Take a Friend is okay. Here Again is okay. Actually, Take a Friend is good. Here Again is okay. And Before and After is my least favorite track, but it is okay. So I have to give this a 7, because there is quite a bit to like here, but it's simply not exceptional. So debut is good, a 7. All right. Next is Fly By Night, as you know, and I'm giving this approaching masterpiece a 9.5. The weakest song on here is Rivendell. It is a song I like, but because of that song not being as good or comparable with the rest, it has to take a step back from Masterpiece. So, approaching Masterpiece, 9.5. Love this album. Next is the often panned by critics and fans alike, Caress of Steel. I'm giving this a 9. I'm giving this a great. I love this album. My pretty much only criticism is I wish the lyrics to I Think I'm Going Bald it would be a little different. I've talked about that in my retrospective on this album. Check that out. Shameless plug. But having said that, the music of I Think I'm Going Bald is heavy. It's hard rock, approaching metal in a few short bursts, but I am fond of it, as I said. And there's just something magical about this for me personally. I was hooked at go, so to speak, when I first heard this in high school. So I'm giving this a great. Next, 2112. What can you say about the rock opera that is the title track, space rock? Nothing like it ever since. And side 2 is magical as well, but for different reasons. I'm giving this legendary status an 11. All right, live album time. All the World's a Stage. This is great. I know Geddy Lee himself said that this is underproduced. I love it. From start to finish. I mean, what a way to end an album with, I guess, what would be the encore in Working Man / Finding My Way. That's almost 15 minutes, those two together. It's so heavy and powerful. I like it more than the debut version. And then What You're Doing, same thing. I like it more than the debut version. It's so heavy. In the End is so powerful. By Torn the Snow Dog. For me, on many days, it's the definitive version. You have an extended version. It is to this album what Jimmy Page does with his bow across the strings of his guitar in Dazed and Confused. It's that good. It's creepy. It's eerie. You're immersed in the story. You have an abridged version of 2112, but it's still fantastic. And then everything else is just wonderful. I love this album. So I'm giving this a 10. I'm giving this a masterpiece status. Next, Farewell to Kings, an album I just love. I'm giving this legendary. It's an 11. Farewell to Kings. This album is uneven, and yet it still works like Led Zeppelin 4, as I've said. It's pastoral. It's heavy in places. It's super rich. It's got medieval tones, it's got Renaissance tones, and then it ends on a science fiction note. So it shares that with the album that follows it and 2112, the preceding album. So they didn't go away from the science fiction totally, which is great. So from a type of setting with each song, you have Madrigal too, right, which is a Renaissance. It's a lovely it's a love song, let's face it. It's just, this is great. I love it. So legendary status for me. All right. Hemispheres. Approaching masterpiece. To give it a 9.5. Why is it not a masterpiece? Well, La Via Strangiato, I love here, but I think that it's missing something, and that's a bias for me because of once you hear the live version on Exit Stage Left, that becomes the definitive version. I love The Trees, I love Circumstances, and then the other problem is that there's little parts of Hemispheres that I don't like. Few and far between with respect to how the song moves from one section or movement to the other, but that's a little trivial. The ending is just phenomenal. So this is close to masterpiece status. So that means this gets a 9.5. Still high regards. Next is Permanent Waves. I give this a great, and I would like to give it a 10, but the problem is it's just too darn short. So, but the songs here are wonderful. Now you could say, well, hey, dude, A Farewell to Kings is pretty short, and it is. But if the difference is that A Farewell to Kings, despite being very short, it feels longer. So make of that what you will. All right, iconic status, legendary status has to be 11. Never gets old for me. Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, and Vital Signs are my three favorite songs, and then, then Limelight, Camera Eye, and then YYZ, Magical All Around. Iconic, legendary status. It's in the Hall of Fame with all the other great artists and bands who have their masterpiece, rather legendary albums or albums. Album or albums. All right, next, you knew it was coming, Exit Stage Left. Yeah, Geddy Lee says that this album is overproduced. Maybe it is, but I have a bias when it comes to this album because every time I hold this in my hand and look at the back cover, I'm back being 14 again, or 13, and I'm back in my mom's car waiting to go home because I've just picked this up on vinyl from the record store, and my mom just went into the Popeyes to get some chicken for dinner for all of us, and I'm just saying, I can't wait to listen to this, right? So this is magical still, despite its flaws, so I'm giving Exit Stage Left close to masterpiece, a 9.5. All right. Next is Signals, and I'm giving this an 8. I love Subdivisions and Analog Kid. Chemistry is quite emotional and moving. A Digital Man, The Weapon have grown on me, but I don't consider them superb or excellent songs. They're good or approaching very good. New World Man, I like. It grew on me, but it's still quirky, and it's my second least favorite. My least favorite is Losing It. Although, like I said in a previous video, I love Ben Mink on there. And then Countdown, I'm quite fond of, but you got to get that NASA guy out of there. So anyway, 8. So this is very good. This is also very good. Just an Early Warning, After Image, Red Sector A, The Enemy Within, and The Body Electric. 5 songs back to back to back to back to back. Fabulous. Kid Gloves and Red Lenses I can do without, and then Between the Wheels is just fabulous, so I'm giving this a good. If Kid Gloves and Red Lenses had better songs or were better songs themselves, this would be obviously much higher. It's a shame. All right, next, Power Windows. I give this a mediocre. I want to give it poor, but I just love Middletown Dreams and Mystic Rhythms. And normally I'm not the person who will go, well, it elevate, you only have 4 good songs out of 8, so it elevates the album. No, I don't play that. I'm being hypocritical or cheating here, but because of those 2 songs I like so much, I'm elevating this from poor to mediocre. So from a 4 to a 5. I'm sorry, from a 5 to a 6. All right. Speaking of poor, Hold Your Fire. I like 2 songs on here, but the only one I still listen to all the time is Open Secrets, and then once in a while I will listen to Lock and Key. So Hold Your Fire is poor, a 5. This is also no, I take that back. This is mediocre. This is a 6. And yes, it has some songs before Rush went into police mode to sound that reggae pop kind of stuff, but it's kind of brought down by the mood and overall tone. It doesn't the songs don't sound as good if they were. I'm sorry, the older songs like Witch Hunt and Red Sector A and Closer to the Heart don't sound the way they should because they seem to have picked up the mood and vibe of that police era vibe, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm giving this, if you want better versions of, Closer to the Heart, look elsewhere, that kind of thing is what I mean. So anyway, this is a disappointing, this is a 6, this is mediocre. Some days I want to give it poor, but anyway. All right, so let's see. So I left off at Show of Hands. So now we're up to Presto. There's only 2 songs I like on here, and they're the bookends. Show Don't Tell. Let's jazz it up a little bit. It could be a little jazzier. It kind of trails off after the intro. Got some kind of quasi-jazzy feels. And then Available Light is that wonderful singer-songwriter thing that I wish Geddy would have done more on his solo album, My Favorite Headache, with Ben Mink. But still giving it a poor, even though I like 2 songs. So this is poor. This is a 4 because it's it's I'm sorry. This is approaching extremely poor is what I meant to say. So this is a 4, not a poor 5. All right. Next is Roll the Bones. I'm giving this a mediocre. I'm giving this a 6, even though I only, for the most part, like 3 songs: Dreamline, Bravado, and Ghost of a Chance. Once in a while, I will listen to Neurotica or Where's My Thing. If I didn't listen to those at all, it would be lower. So Roll the Bones, 6, mediocre. Counterparts, 6, mediocre. I like Animate. Do I love it? No. Do I like Stick It Out? Yes, I don't love it. Cut to the Chase is okay. Nobody's Hero, I never need to hear again. I love Double Agent. I love Leave That Thing Alone. And I love Cold Fire. So, mediocre. Just not enough to raise it or elevate it. Next is Test for Echo. This is getting an approaching extremely poor, a 4, because I only like the first 2 songs, Test for Echo and Driven. And that's it, folks. All right, next is Different Stages. This I'm giving a great. For the first time, at the time, we had live versions of Dreamline, Driven, Bravado, Animate, Show Don't Tell, Nobody's Hero, Test for Echo, Analog Kid was a great treat, still is today. Stick It Out. Resist is okay here. I like the live version better. I don't care much for the studio, but live here, it's got a different energy and vibe and very emotive in capturing, grabbing you and making you tug at your heartstrings much more than the studio, as I said. And for the first time, you get a live version of Natural Science. So, and there are other songs in here. You get you get YYZ, Tom Sawyer, Spirit of Radio. You get The Rhythm Method, and you get 2112 in its entirety. There's a lot to like here. So I'm giving this a 9. All right. that leads us to the comeback, Vapor Trails. I'm giving this an excellent, a 9.5. I'm sorry, not an excellent. I'm giving this approaching masterpiece. Excellent is masterpiece. So approaching masterpiece, which is a 9.5. Masterpiece is 10. This would be a masterpiece if you didn't have Out of the Cradle on here. So it takes away from that status. All right, but I love the album. So again, Vapor Trails for me, I know some people hate it or don't like it, is approaching masterpiece. Again, 9.5. Snakes and Arrows. This is very good. This is an 8. There's some stuff on here I don't listen to. I don't listen to much. Is Bravest Face, Good News First, and We Hold On. But I do like it, so it gets an 8. And finally, before we get to one more live album, is Clockwork Angels. I give this a good. I sometimes want to give this an 8, but I'm going to keep it at a 7. It's just there's something bland about the title track, Clockwork Angels, 7 minutes and 31 seconds. And there's some moment. I wish them well. Yeah, and there's some songs in here I like, but there's part of the songs that I don't like at all. If that makes sense. So I'm giving this a good. I wish I liked it more. Finally, Live in YYZ, which comes in this deluxe version of Moving Pictures, I'm giving a legendary status. I'm giving it an 11 because as good as Exit Stage Left is, it's even more amazing. The exception is, as I said before, the La Via Strangiato version on Exit Stage Left is just a smidge better than what's on here. These are so close. I can tell a slight difference, but regardless, you have to get this if you're a Rush fan. This is a great double live album in here. It's the full set list from when they were touring for Moving Pictures and/or Exit Stage Left. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day now. Take care now. Bye.